Good morning, Parker Posse. How are you? It is Thursday. I know I've been kind of incognito. I tell you, I don't know what it is. My allergies, I keep feeling like I got a cold. As soon as I step outside, it's horrible. So, yeah, I've been really tired. Not an excuse, but as you get older, it just don't take much to kind of try to bring you down. So, yeah, but I am going to try to come on sometime between now and Sunday. Probably be like Friday or Saturday, more than likely. But Martin had sent me a link to this horrible, horrible mass shooting in Minneapolis. I have briefly just seen it yesterday because yesterday I took the time not to watch anything about Trump and all the politics and all that. I was watching church stuff and they had enough gossip and tea going on over there. So I was catching up on that because I hadn't been in that sector for a long, long, long time because the politics and the van people keep me busy. But I definitely want to send our prayers, our love, our compassion and empathy for the families that lost a child, for the families who now have a child that has been injured, for the families who have children who witness all of this, for the teachers who witness their students being harmed, for the principal who's taken on the responsibility of all this on his shoulders, for the families that attend that Catholic church, just for everybody in the city and the state. I am livid, but I am so tired of coming on here fussing and arguing and yelling and screaming. This is not rocket science. This is something that we can simply do. Our representatives can simply do is put in a bill and vote on it and pass it. I am just so sick of this whole thing about if you put any restrictions on people having how they acquire their guns, it seems like it just goes against the Second Amendment and people's rights. That's not true. Nobody is saying that you can't own one. Nobody's saying that you can't hunt or do whatever it is you want to do. We're just simply saying, can we put some better restrictions on how people procure one and who gets one so things like this won't happen. This is a child. There's so much rhetoric out here, and this is the stuff that gets people hurt and harmed. The young man slash female, because they're saying that the person identified as trans. But some of the rhetoric that they had out there on the internet, I'm looking at this so many different ways. One, it could be somebody pretending to be trans to be able to use that community to get an uproar going. Two, it could be somebody who truly was trans but was conflicted about how they felt about themselves. Three, they definitely had some mental health issues because the rhetoric that they had put out on their manifestos, out on YouTube and all that was coming against everybody, including gay people. So I'm not sure if it was the whole thing about church, mental illness, trying to identify with their own sexuality. It was a lot. There was a lot going on with this young person, only 23. And the signs have been there for years. Signs everywhere, here, there, and everywhere. And nobody thought enough to... I know you can't force somebody to get mental health. You cannot. Unfortunately, the laws have changed for a good reason because you have people misusing it as usual. But this young person definitely... And you know what? Let me back that up. Because it could have been that the parent or parents had gotten the young person assistance and they're 23, so they don't have to take medication, even if it was prescribed. They don't have to go see a psychiatrist, like a psychologist, a counselor, anybody, even if it was, suggested. They get to do whatever they want. So I'm just going to show you what some of the foolishness is out here that gets people hurt. I just can't believe some of the stuff people do. Why must everything be politicized? This is not a Democratic or a Republican or an independent or whatever. This is human beings who have issues, who have not learned how to work through them or get assistance to deal with them. Here we go. Let me just show y'all. This stuff is killing me.
For years, and then a lot of them went on to go to the same college. It's a close-knit community, and I know that they're...
He's talking about him, the fact that he went to Catholic school when he was younger.
Who are like Vinnie Johnson, another crazy right-winger who's out here tweeting stuff like this. One thing is very clear. The trans community is radicalizing the mentally ill into becoming violent terrorists who target children for murder. The pattern is undeniable.
Now, look at this foolishness. One thing is very clear. The trans movement is radicalizing the mentally ill into becoming violent terrorists who target children for murder. What trick... See, they're trying to get me to cuss so early in the morning. What freaking trans movement? Other than the fact that trans people are trying to get the same equality as African Americans or as women, you know, or as gays or lesbians or Hispanics. I mean, all marginalized groups. Same thing, trying to get equal representation and equal rights in the United States. But, you know, of course, let's just make it a trans movement. And in the midst of everything that's going on with people who are trans, they're taking the time out to try to radicalize the mentally ill into becoming violent terrorists. I don't know if this person, Benny, has been around a group of people who seriously have mental illness, but trying to make them into terrorists wouldn't work for the majority of them so much. You know what I'm saying? So, and if I'm trans, I'm not taking time to try to go find somebody who's mentally ill to try to train them into being a terrorist. That's just stupid. The whole thing is stupid. And then, after they've gotten them together, these mentally ill people, and turned them into terrorists, they are now going to have them target children to unalive them. What the fuck? But, you know why I'm showing you this? Because as ridiculous as it sounds to the majority of us, I'm going to hopefully say 92% of us, I'm going to say 8% will look at this and believe what this guy says. They will believe that the pattern he says that's out there is undeniable. They will believe what he says. And then you'll see them out here unaliving trans people for absolutely no reason. But why is he doing this? Oh, for views. For views. For people to go to his Twitter, to his X, to go to his YouTube, so that he can make money. Because this type of rhetoric is making them money. Money, 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 money. It all boils down to the money. Everything in the United States is based on greed, power, money. So it's okay to have a group of people now be pushed out there even further to be harmed because I need a couple of extra more dollars in my pocket. You know, I'm not going to say the United States was perfect prior to this new regime up at the White House. Not at all. But the hostility, the anger, the people coming out just saying and doing some of the most horrific things is just freaking mesmerizing to me. We just had a guy on the 25th of July here in South Carolina, in Columbia, where I live, for those who didn't know. A guy was waiting on the side of the road at the beginning of his subdivision, and this is a very expensive, rich subdivision, matter of fact. And he waits there every morning for his boss to pick him up. And there was another guy who I guess saw him waiting every morning, because the guy would jog up to the front. I guess he figured he could get exercise at the same time, jog from my house, meet my coworker, at the gate. And so on the 25th, this person that also lived in the neighborhood, now the guy that jogged to the gate and was waiting is an African American. The guy coming through the gate into the subdivision is a Caucasian man. You can see him on the camera where he had a rifle, assault rifle, sitting propped up against the dashboard on the passenger side. When he gets to the gate, when the gate opens, he proceeds to take the rifle, hold it out the window, and start shooting at the gentleman standing on the side of the road. It's a brick wall. You know how some subdivisions have the brick walls that are like half walls, and you come in and it has the name of the subdivision and all that on there. The way this subdivision is set up, it had the gates and then it had the brick wall. And the guy was able to dodge behind the brick wall. And it's a good thing that he had some smarts about him, because it was still dark. But what the... And his reason? His reasoning for shooting at the gentleman that was standing there was because he was an African American. That was it, simply it. It's just a good thing that Columbia had just passed a hate law. And this guy is going to be the first one that would be prosecuted underneath that new law for the city. But we don't have a state one. We have a city and a county. And so now they're trying to pass a state. But simply because he didn't like the color of his skin, this gentleman pulled out his assault rifle and was just going to kill him that morning. And it's simple to do, because in the state of South Carolina, you ain't got to have no license now. Any and everybody can ride with their own assault rifle next to them in their passenger seat. Y'all help me to understand why all this is okay for so many people. Why we would much rather talk about the McNasties over there in the vans, or, watch TikTok and all that. There's nothing wrong with wanting breaks. There's nothing wrong with wanting entertainment, because definitely yesterday I took the day to try to find me some entertainment. Nothing wrong with laughing and enjoying life. But right now we're in a crisis, and we're not going to be able to laugh and enjoy life if something isn't done about what's going on now with the regime that we have in D.C. It's going to get worse before it gets better. Would we like to be a country where the only thing we can watch on our TVs is what the government decides? The only places we can go is where the government decides. The only jobs that we can have is the type that the government decides that, or deems that you are worthy of. The only thing you can eat and wear is what the government decides. The only thing that you can read is what the government decides. And actually, in some of these countries, they have decided how many children you can have and what gender. So think about that. The rights that you have now, the freedoms that you have now. Do you want to keep them, or is it okay just to give them away to somebody because they deem that they are the king, they are the dictator, they are the one in charge? Just something to think about this Thursday. All right, guys. Through all things are possible for the God that we serve. I know that this is not for naught, but I also know that if you're a Christian, you believe in the Bible, that the words of the Bible are going to come to pass. And so praying, whether you're on your knees, standing up, riding a bike, in a car, on a bus, on a plane, at your job, eating breakfast, whatever, continue to pray for guidance, coverage, and asking God to give you discernment in what's going on and what part do you need to play in it, if any. All right, Don't give up hope. I might sound like doom and gloom, but y'all know I got to give it to you raw so I can get your attention. But I do serve a God that can take care of all things. But like I said, he's already written what is to come to pass. I'm just asking for, grace and mercy and for strength and for whatever my part is that I need to do, what I need to say or how I need to act or, all those things. All right, me and Parker say, hey, goodbye, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.